Old National Bank, and our big stat does relate directly to Matt Painter, the Purdue men's basketball coach, averaging 23 wins per season, and in this conference, 11 and a half wins, a little over 11 and a half wins a year, and he's got in the regular season 4 Big Ten titles, 14 NCAA tournament berths, 10 All-Americans, and counting, because I think we can all safely assume there will be at least one more added to that ledger this season. And we do have now our conversation coming with Matt Painter, our big interview with the Purdue men's basketball coach, coaching the #2 team in the country at this moment. We'll see. It would not surprise any of us at all if Purdue ends up back in that #1 spot, Matt Painter. And last night, you guys had your Hammer Down Cancer game, and so many different programs are in some way sort of honoring Coaches versus Cancer and suits and sneakers. And you and your wife have done a lot of work in trying to make sure that folks recognize the importance of screening and how cancer has impacted so many different people. Why has this journey been so important to you guys?
Well, I think just from a basketball community, Norm Stewart started it many years ago. Coaches versus Cancer, American Cancer Society has been fabulous. The coaches in our league, the coaches across the country have done a great job of raising money, but also, like you mentioned, just the awareness, for the screening and trying to get people to understand that they got to continue to get screened and continue to do their part to help themselves and to help their families.
Now, I recently saw you tweet about this with the film Blue Chips, your role in it, and teenage me has to at least ask you about that. I could spend the entire interview talking Blue Chips with as much as that film meant to me when I thought I was going to be a basketball player instead of a football player. What was that experience like?
You know what? It was pretty cool. It was just right after college. For me, I was just an extra, just a guy that was in a game and just kind of playing, and fortunate enough to get a couple flashes when you're moving down the court. But just a great experience, obviously being at Frankfurt in a great high school environment, just with everybody that was there and the college players that were playing and just the community, like, the whole, community of Lafayette, West Lafayette, Frankfurt, everybody just, rallied behind it. And it was just it was a cool thing to be a part of.
Now, Matt, I'd been enjoying the version of Zach Edey that was getting 30-plus points a game, 18-plus boards every night. Somewhat pedestrian numbers by Zach Edey's standards last night in your win over Michigan. He did have a double-double, so I don't know. Was there any disappointment by the individual production that your All-American didn't get?
No, it's a team win, and obviously we won by over 30 points and scored 99 points, and that's what makes it special for us, is that our best player, the National Player of the Year, is a selfless player, is a hard worker, and he's out to help us win, and that's it. And to be able to kind of draw that line and do whatever it takes to to help us win. And if that's scoring over 30 and getting 18 rebounds, great. But in a night like this, when it's more balanced and they take him away and they're going to make him pass out of the post more, he's a very unselfish player. So it just works for us that way, and we need him to be aggressive. We need him to go at it if they're going to play him one-on-one. But if not, we need him to be a passer and just keep getting on the glass and keep doing little things for us.
It seems to me that the intensity of Zach Edey's leadership is maybe more palpable this season than it's ever been throughout his marvelous career. In what ways does that end up impacting the success you guys have on the court when the tangible of Zach Edey doesn't necessarily show up in the scoring column, but it seems like he still drives his teammates?
Yeah, just being comfortable out there. He's not a guy that's played basketball his whole life, and just, being comfortable in his own skin and, speaking up, when he needs to. And but he leads by example. He plays hard every single night. He's a physical player. He goes to the glass every single time. And you can say all the right things, but if you don't do them, it doesn't really matter. And, he's somebody that, can back it up because he plays hard. He competes. He practices hard every day. And that's what you need from everybody. And he really sets the tone for us.
You mentioned Zach going to the glass every time, and he's really tall, but your team from an offensive boards perspective is amongst the best in America. In addition to what Zach Edey does, talk me through that philosophy. What is it about the offensive glass that you're able to prioritize where your entire roster really does it at a high level?
Yeah, well, we have a great front line, and all those guys get on the glass. Trey Kaufman-Wren, Mason Gillis, Caleb First. Cam Edey comes off the bench as a small forward that can really rebound the basketball. But we have quick guards, they can get to the keyhole and, chase down long rebounds. And so it's just a focus for us to execute offensively, but also try to get on the glass. And if we take good shots and we have good offensive rebound balance and we know where shots are coming from, it really helps us. So it's just it's a daily thing for us. Some games are going to be better than others, but our efforts got to be the same.
Rayfeld Davis has been talking to me about Lance Jones since before the season began, and he was really excited about what Lance would add to your lineup. I'm curious, what did you expect from Lance Jones, and then how has the reality of having him in your lineup, how has that sort of manifested itself here?
Well, we've really benefited from him having a very good college coach at Southern Illinois and Brian Mullins and his high school coach. Both of those guys are very, very good coaches. They're both defensive coaches. So, he comes to Purdue and we really get, the fruits of their labor. Those guys are the ones that's done the work. He plays hard. He's got good energy, but he's been coached. He knows the deal. We're not saying something at Purdue that he hasn't heard before. We do some things different offensively. But from a defensive standpoint, I thought he was great last night. He put a lot of pressure on the ball. He got us some steals. He got us some energy and got us going. But he's been great. We're so far have not been a program that's had to take 3, 4, 5 guys out of the portal in 1 year. Back-to-back years, we've just taken one. The previous year before that, we didn't take any. And so when these guys come through, that's literally kind of that last piece for us. And, he was a great last piece for us.
And to that point, we're seeing the development in real time of Braden Smith, Fletcher Loyer, these young guys in your backcourt that played significant minutes last season and now are enhancing their production on the court. But what was the offseason like for those guys? What actually led to the production we're seeing now?
Just getting better and just keep working on their craft and, learn from your experiences. Sometimes it can get frustrating. You want an opportunity, you get that opportunity, but it comes with accountability and consequences at times. And that can be good and bad. And both those guys learned a lot their freshman year, and they're both better because of it. They've learned to pick their spots, especially from an offensive standpoint, but really be aggressive when they have opportunities. Just take what the defense gives you, and don't go in with predetermined thoughts. And both of those guys have really learned some hard lessons, and they've done a great job for us this year.
I know I'm not unique in the frequency of the time I spend on Big Ten radio. I've mentioned the 2019 Virginia Cavaliers a few times in relation to your team and the mission that you seem to be on this season after the way the tournament ended for you last year. How often have you brought that up with your squad and them recognizing what can be accomplished?
Yeah, we've talked about it several different times, what they had to go through, what we're going through right now. I think, the important piece for us is to stay focused, keep doing our job and having fun with it. But also don't neglect it. Don't neglect, what has happened. Understand why it's happened, face it, don't run from anything. And I think that's a big piece of when you hit that adversity, you just want to go to bed and pull the covers over your head. And we all know that's not going to get anything accomplished. But when you face it and you go through that, man, it really helps you. It makes you stronger, makes you tougher. And that's what we're doing right now. And we know that we have to get ourselves back to that point, and then we have to be productive and play better. And our guys are looking forward to that challenge.
And the results that we're seeing so far this season show that obviously the focus is on the regular season right now, but I am curious, are there any things that you've tweaked or adjusted with an eye towards the postseason possibilities that will be there and maybe trying to enhance that for your squad?
Not really. We probably don't go as long from a practice standpoint, trying to keep fresh legs. But no, not really. Just, working on our craft, like I mentioned before, just keep getting better at what we do. And our guys have really embraced that. They understand how difficult it is to win a Big Ten championship. And it's hard. It's a grind. But just keep your focus on the next game. I know that's kind of coaches talk, but it's so true. There's so many good teams in our league and good coaches. And the next game's hard enough. So don't worry about anything else right now. Just worry about what's in front of you.
Well, man, if you guys, with the production we've seen so far, if you're going to keep getting better, that is a scary thought, not only in the Big Ten, the teams who may face you come March. Matt Painter, thanks so much for your time. This is a great discussion.
All right. Thanks for having me on.